Armada Book 8 Chapter 3. The Twins. This chapter was written from the point of view of Lauren Roths, and we see her driving along the 101 heading north for Tamalpay Valley in California. She just passed through the expanded Golden Gate Bridge. I like driving home and I look forward to doing this every day. Especially today. I just picked up a cashew cake and an ice cream cake with a lot of fruits for my brother Ash's birthday. We're actually twins, so it's also my birthday, and the cashew cake is actually for me. He will probably buy some lemonweed wine for himself and get me some Moscato that I don't really like but got used to because he always does this. Buy something I don't like, and I told him several times, but he does not seem to remember it. Which is really strange for a family like ours. My mom would probably be home early to cook her fall-off-the-bone chicken and my brother's favorite ground beef dish. As I rounded our large driveway, I saw from afar my Uncle Flynn's car neatly parked in one of the covered garages. As usual, he forgot to close the garage door. The house looks the same, old but large. It's a 10-bedroom house built by my mother's father. She was born very rich and grew up very rich. I was also born very rich but grew up poor. My Uncle Flynn is rich but not that rich. I think my mother is richer than him, but since Uncle Flynn fronts for all our family assets, on paper he is richer. Uncle Flynn teaches at the University of San Francisco, so he does not appear rich but rather nerdy and clueless. A perfect image for him. It's not because we are important people. We are not, and we do not want to be. I am just a waitress, and my brother works as a warehouse person for a large supermarket chain. And my mother works as a farm worker growing flowers and weed. We are definitely not rich and we have very few friends. We do not own any electronic devices except for our phones. We do not maintain any online presence in any of the existing online worlds. My friends have existence in at least 2 online worlds, living 2 more entirely different lives. I think 5 lives is really the magic number. Beyond 5 worlds, life starts to get confusing. I work in San Francisco, in a brewery restaurant. The pay is okay, the tips are very large. I also get to share a room with my best friend Anika, especially when I can't go home for the night. The room is okay too because it's fairly large in an old house near the City Museum. The other room renters are likable and quiet. One room has 2 computer nerds working for a large tech company. The master bedroom is rented by a couple, newly married, also working for a tech company different from the one the nerds work for. I like this house. Typical in San Francisco. It is not at all smart but smart enough to pass the city codes on smart houses. It is manually smart enough. Last month Anika left for some planet to work as a capsule operator to monitor and run the travel capsules in one of the lines of an underground high-speed magnetically levitated capsule system. She's a very smart engineer and is really good with anything mechanical. I did not want to share the room with anybody else except Anika, so I paid the rent by myself in full for the next 2 months. I was thinking Anika would return and may want her old room back. Actually, I want to be alone in my room and I really hope Anika will not return to get her part of the room back. I did get an offer for the opportunity to go with her and serve in one of the mess halls of the train system. But our family does not do these things. And besides, San Francisco is a very unique city. It's really a hub for space travelers. I have seen more alien life forms than your average New Earth citizen. It is also the hub for seers and seer trainees. It is also the hub for the infamous seer monitoring agency called REES. It's like seer spelled backwards, but it actually stands for Real Expectations Education Services. REES is not an education system nor provide any education to anybody, at all. It monitors seers on Earth. You see, seers emit a certain T2 up to T8 hotspot waves when they are seeing or experiencing any form of information on any event in the near or far future. They have millions of signal monitor boxes attached to poles around the city. If you see something in the future, the boxes will know that you are seeing something and send your ID to REES. If REES does not find you with any abnormal work on some future event, then you are tested. I get tested every 3 years because I do not emit any of these waves at all. They concluded that people into sports like me and my brother usually does not have these waves. I was once an Olympic triathlon champion. I won a gold in the individual medley and 1 other gold for being the best in my team on the pole vault. My brother also won gold in the tracks, winning the marathon and the 3,000 meters. We were offered hundreds of endorsement deals, but we accepted none. This move angered a lot of people including our team members, so my brother and I were outcast and we never got to participate in any sports event at all after that. We were called Dull Duo or DD, and the name stuck with the press. Usually when a person finds out who we are, They immediately put up a wall and would never touch us with a 10-foot pole. In the end, the only jobs open for us are menial jobs where people generally don't care whether you're an ex-con or a hacker gangster. After a while you get used to them and they get used to you. They become less threatening, more consistent, and generally nice to you. You become one of them. And this was what my mother wanted for me and my brother from the day we were born. I parked my car in the barn, far from the house. I don't think I will be using it for 4 days. It's actually Thanksgiving Day today, and yes, we were born on the 23rd of November and our birthday falls on Thanksgiving Day. I entered through the side door and walked through the long hallway right at the middle of the house towards the north of the house. Midway I turned to the kitchen and opened the refrigerator. I got my usual Gatorade, orange. I do not understand why I like this drink. Maybe it makes me feel good or maybe just normal. I see 2 car keys on the table. That means my brother is not home yet. I put mine beside my mom's keys. I walked towards the laundry room and closed the door behind me. Then I walked towards the end of the laundry room and pushed the wall behind some clothes. It opened to a small room. I went in and punched my code on the keypad. The keypad is really a prop to look at your fingerprints and I could punch in any number I like. There is a scanner in front and on both sides of me and my full body is scanned. Once it is confirmed I am really who I am, then the door opens beside me to an elevator. Our real house is 30 stories down, and it is housed inside a solid 30-inch thick lead rectangle box thrice the size of our house on the ground. This lead box is inside a bigger box of copper 20-inch thick and concrete 20 feet thick. The concrete is reinforced with crisscrossing steel beams and bars. I walked out of the elevator and as it closed I tried to listen to the humming sound slowly disappear and our house is now quiet. "Mom, Uncle Flynn, I'm home," I shouted. "In the kitchen," my mom shouted back. I brought down my 2 cakes onto the large marble table and, "Mom, what's that smell?" "I cooked some spaghetti for your Uncle Flynn." "Thank you, Helen. You did not have to do this. You have been wishing for this several days now," Mom said. I moved to kiss Mom, then Uncle Flynn. "So, young lady, did you meet any interesting man today?" Mom asked. "No, just the usual snooty customers from the local space fleet. They think like they own the world just because they are in the space fleet. Like today, they made a man move from his table to the counter. They do this all the time to our customers." I felt so bad and the way he looked at me, so piercing but somehow calm. I had to give the man free coffee and discounted half of his food bill. "When I met your father, I was swept off my feet. I did not know what hit me. I could not read his mind and I could not see ourselves in the future. It was so exciting." "Stop it, Mom, I know, just being together made you happy, yada yada. When you meet your man, you will know." "Wait a minute, Mom. You told me he will come from the stars, not of this world. That he will save our world from impending doom. If he could do these things, I suppose I would know since he must be very important and famous to be able to do this, right?" "Well, the prophecy made by my Auntie Grace told of a man, not of this world but a simple man, humble and a little funny. And you will fall for him. Will you turn off the oven, please? I think the chicken is done." "But you don't have to spend your life waiting for him. Just forget about this and live your life. By the way, I need an assistant next week to help me with my presentation. I am going to show off this car engine I invented to the Ford company. Helen does not want to go with me." "Did you mean copied, not invented?" My mom ribbed him. "More like copied to me." I winked at him. "Och, copied. But this is what we do. Just look around this underground house. We have more advanced technologies here than what the university can learn in 1,000 years." "That's true." I nodded in agreement. "Tell me, Lauren, how many alien languages do you know?" Uncle Flynn asked. "Maybe 600 or so," I said, thinking a punchline is coming. "And how much of the technology here did you create right here?" He continued. "Maybe a third. Ash created most of them. You copied them also, right?" "Okay, fine, I see your point. My uncle does not take copying lightly, I guess." At this point Ash walked into the kitchen. He kissed Mom, then me, then kissed his Uncle Flynn on the cheeks. "So here is the greatest copier of all," I told my uncle and nodded at Ash. My mom explained to Ash what we were talking about. "Wait, Uncle Flynn, why in the world would you want to get into this invention mode? It's not like you want recognition or money," Ash exclaimed. "I think he's just bored." "Are you bored, Uncle Flynn?" I asked without looking at him. "You're right. I guess I'm bored. Uncle Flynn answered in a rather sad tone. Look, Uncle Flynn, I brought a bottle of your favorite brandy. Ash handed him the bottle. Uncle Flynn smiled and got the bottle. He moved over to the counter to get a glass. I started to set the table up for 4 and put the bottles Ash brought in the ice bucket. Mom got a bottle of Coca-Cola for Ash and me. We sat at the table and waited for Mom to sit. As Mom sat, let's pray. Bless us, O Lord, in these thy gifts. Yes, we're Catholic and there are very few of us left. I guess religion is something very hard to understand for most people. Especially when you can now travel across several galaxies faster than the speed of light. They could not understand that the universes are a speck of sand compared to the ocean of God. I guess the people running the church messed up a lot of things for God and these confused and alienated the people. Okay, let's all say something for Thanksgiving. Lauren, you start. Mom said. I thank God for my life and my family. I thank God also for all the things I have done, all the places I have gone through across time and space. I looked at Ash. Okay, same here. Ash said. I elbowed him, you're so lazy. I said. I thank God that you are both safe and healthy. That I have my brother that I love very much here. That I am here to make sure your destinies are fulfilled. Mom said. Stop using big words, Mom. Ash said. We all laughed at his kid's voice interpretation. I thank God for creation. For the beauty of man, the beauty of his universes. The magic of family and love. Happy birthday, guys. Uncle Flynn said. We all agreed. How's work, Mom? I asked. As usual, I try hard not to get the weed into my system. I started to bring food for the guys for lunch and they love it. They wonder how I can afford all the food I bring. But they are all happy to take home some. This makes me happy. How about you, Ash? Well, Mom, I am now an expert stacker. We all laughed. My work is really boring considering I am teaching some of the most advanced technologies in the university like spaceship propulsion, space mapping and time distortions. They all think I'm smart. I want to teach them more advanced technologies they have not imagined exist already. I want to teach them how to telepath and so much more. Actually, I feel so bad being a teacher and not teach properly. I have a lot of very smart kids and I want to help them. But my hands are tied. I remember Uncle Flynn, I accompanied you to a lecture in Stanford and you were so famous among the scientists. I found it funny that a lot of the technologies they presented were dead ends. Like they would be replaced quickly. I commented. Thank you for always accepting my invitations, Lauren. I really feel so alone sometimes, especially in front of my peers. Well, being alone is what we do, Flynn. Mom said. When will we stop being alone, Mom? Ash asked. When Lauren gets engaged. Mom said. Are we going to set up the kitchen again, Mom? Yes, I want to, but I have so much work. I can do it, Mom. I can open it on Sunday as usual. Ash said. I can help. I added. Actually, I already posted a school ad for volunteers and so far, I have 120 guys who volunteered. More will come when we open. Uncle Flynn said. We can have the kitchen cook all the food for your co-workers, Mom, so you have time to spare for the kitchen. I plan to cook in the kitchen. Ash said. Do that, honey. Mom said. Why suddenly, you have time on your hands? I asked. I filed my vacation leave and some unpaid time off. My boss agreed, so I have all the time. Ash said. Are you going to give money away also, Flynn? Mom asked. Yeah, the usual amount per person. I think the trust funds are getting too big. I am thinking of giving a few dozen, maybe 90, scholarships to art students. Why 90? Just make it a round number, say 300. And add a little extra. You know, for inflation. Mom said. I do not want to appear to have a lot of money. Maybe we can fund the kitchen to stay open year-round. Uncle Flynn said. I think we should open a kitchen in 10 major cities. Ash said. As long as the trusts manages it and not involve any of us, that's fine with me. I said. The operating route is more complex since the trusts should not be involved in actually operating the kitchens. Mom said. In one of my travels I saw that there would be 10 major animal species that would be extinct in 300 years. I went earlier and found the humans devised a shield for the animals. Still nothing worked. It seems the animals wanted to die. I started. They need a natural habitat with less humans. Ash said. I went to live in this planet once and in this planet the humans there were all telepaths. They looked smaller though. They call themselves Maquis and they are absolutely peaceful, no crime. They have this teleportation device that we can use to teleport the animals to their new habitat. We have to know first if the habitat is really what they need. Mom said. Most of the human planets I visited have militaries. Some more militarized than others. There is this planet where the lineage of the royal families extended more than 2,500 years and the royals and smaller humans were all telepathic. They call themselves Rosavies. Maybe they came from the same line. This planet had a very strong military but was not militarized at all. We are much more militarized than they are. I said. Our planet is militarized because of the seer population. Uncle Flynn said. You're right, Flynn. If the Catholic Church did not acknowledge and start the seer education systems, we wouldn't be in this mess. Mom said. And it led to lower church patronage. The people could not accept why the church waited so long to acknowledge this natural inborn ability. I do not think they realized that this was an ability given by God. Mom said. Now the planet is a big growing facility for seers for the benefit of corporations and even other species who may even get into a war with us. Ash said. It's crazy and it increased fear and insecurities at all levels. I said. Let's not talk about this. We always talk about this. Let's talk about you, Flynn. Any new woman I do not know of? Mom asked. There is nobody in the university worth pursuing. Worth pursuing? I asked. I am actually very busy. Bored and busy? I asked. Yes. How about you, Ash? Anybody interesting? Mom asked. No one, Mom. Come on, Ash. You told me about this girl named Belle. I said as I pushed his shoulder. Yes, she works with invoicing and she also went on vacation leave to help in the kitchen. Sounds like a long kitchen date to me with a lot of planning involved. Uncle Flynn said. Speaking of planning, what do you plan on doing with the investments next year? Mom asked Uncle Flynn. So far we have bought majority ownership of some 800 of the top 1,000 corporations spread out among 1,000 trust companies. Other families probably own the rest. 10 of my staff are presently working on the next 2,000. They are already almost there. The diamond and gold made by the machine Ash copied, made this possible, but it depressed the diamond and gold markets on 4 planets. A good portion of the ownership is from buying and selling stocks and making very good spreads. What about the boards? When are you going to give the directive out? Mom asked. Maybe before the end of next year when we have around 3,000 corporations under our control. Will the directive put an end to the kitchens? Ash asked. I am sure next year we would still have them, but maybe not for the succeeding years. What I don't understand is that with all the seers employed by these corporations, they could not foresee your moves. It must drive them crazy. I said. I think some are withholding information, others are simply too lazy to see further, while others cannot see what your Uncle Flynn sees. Remember, some of these seers were forced to work. They see only what they want to see and interpret what they see according to what they want. Mom explained. I think that with all the seers making moves on what they see, the future becomes more fluid and ever-changing. You would have to see beyond what they have seen and see what they cannot. Ash said. Well, this is what your Uncle Flynn does. Mom said. And you are still bored? I joked, looking at Uncle Flynn. It is really a boring job after you do this for several decades. He answered. Ash, did you learn something new to show us? Mom asked. Yes, show off. Anything you learned in your travels. Well, Lauren, look at this. He raised his hand and I saw a bottle of wine move from the bucket, open itself and poured into his glass. That is so neat, honey. Where did you learn this? Mom asked. It took me 40 years to learn this from a planet of humans I think is 40 BLY away. And they are all telepathic, but they are not seers. I taught their very best the basics in exchange for the knowledge. I also learned to cook their food. They are really absolutely very nice people, very kind. Here, let me transfer the address to you. Look for their leader, Kieran. He held my hand and held Mom's hand. Then Mom held Uncle Flynn's hand. You guys should go to some other dimension and look for this planet, not where Ash went. Mom said. We all nodded. Also make sure you stay on your large bed. I had this experience of falling off into a shallow sleep and I wondered. When I realized that I was wandering, I stopped and I fell on my chair. Mom added. Normally you turn into a bright yellowish light that floats a bit then disappears. But when you reappear you fall back to where you were. So do not wander sitting on a chair. My Uncle Flynn added. I know that, Uncle Flynn. I saw Ash do that several times. Now what would you be doing in my room, sis? I usually go to your room to ask about something. I am not there to nosy around or steal anything. We spent the next 2 hours talking about our travels during the past several days. Some of Uncle Flynn's adventures were so funny. He got himself into an age where dinosaurs roamed the planet and he got himself eaten whole by a dinosaur. Then Ash found himself being chased by so many women. Then Mom went to a future dimension where women were very much honored. She stayed there for 20 years. I told him I ended up in a military where I became the top general on the planet. Ash laughed so hard at this story. Then my mom felt her neck tired a bit, and it was our signal to retire. We usually retire around 8 p.m. and wander for about 2 to 3 hours in any time and place. Then we fall asleep. Now I usually do not have dreams since we have trained our minds to prevent us from having dreams. Normally dreaming is our gateway to see and experience anything, but since we can do it consciously, we prefer not to have them. Then we wake up around 4 a.m. and work on projects we like to work on. Normally from our previous night's experience. When I was younger, I used to wander for 30 minutes as Ash did. But as we got more in control of our minds, we can now wander into 4 or even 6 places in a night. Each normally lasts around 30 minutes, but some places are not too interesting while others are, so the length varies. Each 30 minutes is equivalent to living in that place for around 30 years. 2 days later we all woke up early and headed off to open the kitchen. The kitchen is our family's pet project every Christmas season. My dad started it and Mom wanted to keep it running as a legacy from my dad. We open it on the Sunday after Thanksgiving and close it January 6th of the next year. For about a month and a half all of us worked there. Normally I work as a server, which is my life's passion, while Ash works as a cook, which is his life's frustration. My mom works with him cooking. Uncle Flynn normally handles the backroom stuff like ordering, promotions, monitoring, whatever. We have been doing this like forever, ever since I was born, I think. We spend our Christmas at the kitchen. The kitchen is fairly large. It can accommodate up to 2,000 persons sitting at a time. It takes up half of the building's footprint, which is like 80,000 square feet. It was not like this large before, but the deluge of poor people coming to our place made a lot of our neighbors complain. Uncle Flynn is not one to lie down against complaints, so his solution was to buy all the buildings around us and created a lease that stipulated that the kitchen's existence must be respected. Still others complained and he raised their rent a zillion times, forcing some or all of them to leave. We ended up with empty buildings with too high rent rates. He used these buildings as headquarters for about 500 of all our trust companies. This year we do not expect any complaints. Ash and I entered the building through the back. Earlier our engineer volunteers fixed all the electrical and plumbing to be in tip-top shape. This is because once we open, we never close until the next year. The volunteers number at least 240 working on 3 8-hour shifts. We issue our volunteers ID tags on site because some people just drop by and volunteer. We know our poor people. We have a list of them, and while we work on reducing their number by giving them psychological services, advice, jobs or work opportunities and providing for their basic needs like shelter and medical support, more poor people are added each year, mostly from other human planets. Their numbers continuously grow. For the old-timers, they have a necklace with their name on them with electronic information on their physicals and issues. For the new ones, they get them from one of the non-profits we have that issues these necklaces. Some lose their necklaces, but a quick DNA scan will reveal who they are, and a new necklace is produced. At the main entrance of the building, the volunteers have lined up to get their ID tags. The numbers look good since the whole lobby is filled with volunteers. I went around towards the elevator for the basement parking when I was suddenly jumped on by a man. He tried to cover my head with his hands. Then I saw a pile of pipes hit his back and he groaned. It happened very fast, but I saw the man's pain and I remembered. He was the guy I moved from his table to the counter. Then, as if nothing happened, I saw him stand and offered a hand. I took it and he pulled me to stand up. I am sorry for jumping on you.
I'm Adam.
He offered his hand.
I'm Lauren.
I took his hand and felt so calm. Then I remember feeling like this when he stood me up. Did you get hurt? I saw your face grimace in pain. It's not hurting anymore, so I'm good. The delivery people are now in a flurry to make sure nobody else would be hurt. I see you have a volunteer ID.
Adaman.
Easy name. Yes, I am so excited. It's my first time to do this. Well, I have been doing this since I was born and accidents do happen. Thank you. That was actually very quick of you. I think I would be assigned with the food server group, first shift. Great, we would be working together then. I thought you would be my supervisor. I looked into his eyes and he was looking into mine, and it was as if time stood still for a bit. I gather you would be teaching the group the ropes? He asked very slowly. Right. He followed through. I was still quiet and suddenly I realized what was happening and said, yes. I will be starting at 4 p.m. today. I said, more exact this time. The next day I saw Adam was assigned to the row 1 table with 5 other men. There were 6 rows serving food and the people lined up to get their food along these rows and then go to their tables. There are also 2 tables assigned for takeout food. There is a group of servers bringing in the food from the kitchen. Normally the row tables have food for an hour. Within this time a second batch is delivered and placed at their rear table. A group of servers deliver this. After 2 deliveries, they take over the job from Adam's group and Adam's group takes a break and is now assigned to deliver in the food from the kitchen. There is also a group of servers whose job is to go around serving water or coffee, cleaning the tables and talk to the guests. Some guests want more food, so we bring them the food. That's where I am assigned. The next morning as I was cleaning a table, Adam walked beside me and gave an old lady, Mrs. Linus, some spaghetti and juice. Mrs. Linus looked at Adam and felt sad. Adam knelt beside Mrs. Linus and asked, "What's wrong, ma'am?" "I thought I saw my son. He died in one of the planets. He was a miner," she said, looking at Adam. I saw Adam stood Mrs. Linus up, hugged her and kissed her on the cheeks. Then she asked her to dance with him to the Christmas song we regularly play, which was actually a happy tune at that moment. As they danced, an old guy, Mr. Park, asked me for a dance. I did dance with Mr. Park. Then I realized people were starting to dance around Adam and me. After a minute or so we switched, much to my surprise. Mr. Park asked to dance with Mrs. Linus and I ended up dancing with Adam. The music turned to a slower and more melancholic song. "What you did for Mrs. Park was amazing," I said as I held his hand. The calm feeling came back and I looked into his face and he was looking into my eyes. Then time stopped. I felt so calm and at peace and I could see Adam calm and quiet. We stayed unmoving for so long. The people suddenly appeared seated and we were still holding each other almost unmoving. We did not even talk. That was the weirdest feeling I ever had, and that includes all my travel experiences across time and space. Thank you for the dance. It was a real eye-opener, Adam said and nonchalantly went back to work. What did you mean by eye-opener? Maybe he felt the same way I did. On second thought, it was really an eye-opener that I could feel this way. Then right after lunch before my shift ended, the city mayor came with the city police chief. He talked with the shift supervisor. Adam and I walked nearer and we overheard the mayor threatening to close our kitchen and fine us for creating traffic jams because of the large number of old and poor people going to and from our kitchen. Ben, our supervisor for the day, was apologetic but calmly said we have our permits. Still, the mayor threatened to revoke it. "Our lawyers will talk to the city today to iron this out, sir," Ben said calmly. After the mayor left, Ben called the non-profit in charge of the permits and explained the situation. Then he calmly walked back in. "Are we in trouble, Lauren?" Adam asked me. "No, Ben will work things out. I am so sure of this. He always does. Hey, our shift will be ending in an hour. I was thinking maybe I can invite you for some pizza. I know you did not eat the whole time we were working," Adam said. "I would love to, Adam. And I know exactly where," I said, feeling famished already. We ended up at a cheap pizza place just a block from our kitchen. There is a better one a mile from there, but my stomach told me to settle with the cheap. I ordered my usual vegetarian, and Adam ordered the meaty one. We both ordered medium and a bottle of wine for both of us. "So how was your day today?" I asked. "Busy, and the dance was a welcome treat. Mrs. Linus looked so happy," I said. "And the old man too," he said, and I smiled at him. This always happens in all the years I have served in the kitchen. "Tell me, Adam, when you held my hand, what did you feel?" He fell silent. He held my hand and after a few seconds said, "Now I feel not at all tired. I feel calm and at peace. Hungry but patient. My worries, and I have a lot of them, are all gone. I feel exactly what you just said. It's really amazing that I can feel this way." He let go of my hand and the waiter put our wine on the table. "Adam, Tell me about yourself. Don't lie, I would know if you were lying. Well, I was born in Los Angeles, grew up in Washington and later Los Angeles, studied in Portland. My dad was killed when I was young and I grew up with my mom. My sister died earlier and this drove my dad to be reckless in his ways. Later I lived with my other mom and other dad with my mom. I know it's complicated, Adam said. He did not seem to lie and I said, it's not complicated. You have a stepmom and a stepdad. He nodded. Our pizzas arrived and we started to eat. This is good pizza. Cheap too. I think we are just too hungry, I said. He laughed and we ate quietly but rather fast. Halfway through the pizza, Adam stood and sat on the chair beside me. Then he continued eating. I think the view is better here, he commented. You don't like looking at my face? No, I do, but I just want to hold your hand like this. He held my hand under the table. He poured wine on his and my glass. He got his glass and clicked mine. We stayed quiet, still holding hands, looking at the shopping mall across the street. It was pretty decorated and people were walking in and out carrying bags. We stayed quiet for about an hour. And during all this time I felt calm and relaxed. Then I saw Adam close his eyes and stayed quiet for the next hour. I did close my eyes and I felt a calming warm breeze on my face and then silence. I quickly opened my eyes and the sound started and the breeze stopped. I saw Adam's eyes were still closed and he looked so calm. I chose to close my eyes. The silence and the breeze came back and my eyes just saw black. Nothing. Nothingness is what I saw. The breeze is now covering my whole body. I felt so incredibly good. Excuse me, sir. Would you like to get some dessert? The waiter asked, touching Adam's shoulder. Adam and I quickly opened our eyes. Yes, I would like a slice of tiramisu, I said quickly. Just give me a cup of coffee, please, Adam said. I looked at my watch and we were in our own little world for more than 2 hours. It's a good thing I did not travel or worse, light up and then disappear. This is really strange. That was a great meal and a great quiet time together, Adam said. It's really strange, but I felt a calm breeze over my face, then my whole body. And all the sound disappeared. I felt so calm and relaxed. This has never happened to me. Me too, Adam said. So midday tomorrow when I get very tired, will you hold my hand? Sure, I answered. We can do it in one of the storage rooms upstairs. I sounded like we were going on a tryst, not at all scientific and therapeutic. We both laughed. The next day was super hectic. I was in very early and so was Adam. We did not talk, just a quick hello and that's it. By 11 I was already feeling tired and I looked for Adam. He just delivered some food to the rows and I waved at him. I waited for him inside the kitchen. When he came in, I grabbed a timer and waved for him to follow me upstairs. He quietly followed me and I led him inside one of our storage rooms. He pulled 2 big buckets beside each other and as if on cue he sat and I sat on the buckets. Without saying a word, I set the timer for 15 minutes and he held my hand holding the timer. Then we closed our eyes. I felt so relaxed again. The quiet silence, the calm breeze. Like my tiredness simply vanished. And we still did not even say a word. We just sat there in darkness. I mean darkness in our minds, but the room was well lit. The timer did its thing noisily and I felt it vibrate in my hand. Adam felt it too, so we both opened our eyes. Then we stood, still not saying a word. When I looked at the door, Ash was just looking at me perplexed. What are you doing? He asked. Nothing, I said and walked past him. Adam looked at him and nodded as he passed him. Just after lunch, the mayor arrived and stood by the main door. I saw the police standing across the street, doing nothing. Then the mayor started to greet the people coming in. I did not notice it, but 3 men in suits went in. As usual, Ben was there. I'm Ben, the shift supervisor. May I help you, gentlemen? Yes, we are looking for a young lady called Belle, one of the men said. And you are? Ben asked. Tell her that her cousin Renee is looking for her. Ben went to the back and brought Belle out. I'm Belle. I do not know of any cousin named Renee. Yes, ma'am, we understand. He will be arriving in less than an hour. Maybe he can explain to you himself. I still have to work for about 2 hours. Can I see him after my shift? Belle said. As you wish. We will wait outside until he comes and talk to you. And with that they turned and left. I saw them stand outside the door beside the mayor. After about an hour, a long stretch of a floating limo pulled in front and I saw a man in a suit walk out. Then I saw another man who looked like the present planet governor walk behind him. The first man whispered something to the planet governor and he stayed outside. The man looked for Ben. Ben walked out calmly and, "Yes, I am Ben. How may I help you?"
Emma Valles cousin Rini.
"Can I talk to her, please?" Belle came out and said, "Hi, I'm Belle." She just waved a hello. "Belle, my grandfather Ramel is your grandmother Helga's younger brother. Their other sister is requesting your presence. Actually, she is bedridden and it could be one of her last few wishes. I know my grandmother talked of a brother Mello and a sister Amina. But I do not know them." "Yes, Amina, she's the one sick. Mello is my grandfather." "I cannot believe this," Belle said. "Why don't you hold my hand?" he asked Belle. Belle looked at him surprised but nonetheless extended her hand slowly. Rini held her hand with two hands and they looked at each other. Then she looked at Ash and then me. "I have to go with Rini. I have to leave now," she told Ash. "I will go with you," Ash said and Belle nodded. Ash held her hand. They both took off their dirty aprons and handed them to me. "Do you like me to go with you, Ash?" I asked. "No, stay here and take care of Mom. This may take a while. And sis, I think he's a nice and decent guy for you," he whispered to me. "That guy must be very important to make the planet governor become a doorman," Adam said. Ben laughed and said, "And why is the mayor standing outside?" We all laughed. Before my shift ended, I invited Adam to accompany me shop for some gifts for the volunteers. "Sure, I figured you need somebody to carry the bags." "Yes, I do," I said. "At the mall, I just got a generic gift for everybody. I figured everybody wants a new phone with the latest holographic AI, so I bought 300 pieces, almost cleaning out the store's stock. Bringing the phone became a problem, until the store manager decided to deliver the items to me at the kitchen early the next day. I guess it was for the better because we could not carry them all. I went around with Adam and he insisted that we hold hands. I think the feeling is becoming addictive, so I agreed. I felt so light and in a generally jolly mood. We joked and kidded each other about almost anything. I guess he got tired holding my hand. He shifted and held my bare shoulders instead. The feeling did not change, which is good. Then he let his hand fall off and I held his shoulders this time. "I want to buy wristwatches for my family," I said as I pulled him into a watch store. He walked around seemingly interested, but I felt he was not. After I was done paying, I approached Adam and said, "Look, Adam, I know you're not interested, so don't pretend that you are." "No, I am not interested. I am very interested. In fact, I was thinking of getting this watch." He pointed to a watch. "Don't bother, I already got you one. Look at this." I showed him the Rolex that I bought for him. "I like this, very traditional." He said, "Got it and simply wore it." "What are you doing?" "I intend to give that to you on Christmas Day. It's the same. You will get the same reaction from me. A big thank you." "Thank you." I shoved the box at him. He pretended to get hurt and stepped back, avoiding me. We sat at a coffee shop and Adam went to the counter. As he left, my mom called. "Honey, Ash told me he was leaving with Belle to some distant planet." Mom said. "Yes, he did, and in a hurry too. The two were not even able to prepare anything. They just left. I guess he'll call us tomorrow and tell us what's happening." "I'm sure he will," I said. "Listen, honey, Ash told me that he found you with a man in the storeroom." I was with Adam. We were just trying to relax from a very busy and tiring morning shift. "Tell me about your boyfriend then." "He's not my boyfriend. We are just enjoying each other's company. We're at a coffee shop right now and he's coming over." "Got to go, Mom." "Of course, dear. Just tell me about him when you get home." "Wait, why don't we have dinner with Adam tonight?" "No dinner. I will just see you tonight." "Bye, Mom." "That's your mom?" "You should have planned to have dinner for us three together." That was what Mom wanted. Dinner with you. And why would you not agree, 2 against 1? Adam declared. "Okay, fine. I'll call her to meet us somewhere. What would you like for dinner?" "Something nice for your mom. Whatever your mom likes." I nodded and called Mom. "Mom, Adam wants to have dinner with you at your favorite restaurant.
Let's meet there, say, in an hour?
Adam smiled and gave the thumbs up. Mom's favorite restaurant is actually a corner Chinese restaurant where parking is non-existent. It was also a small restaurant with just 10 tables but serves the best food in the whole Chinese district. I parked 3 blocks away and figured Adam and I would just walk the distance. Mom arrived several minutes after we sat down. We sat beside each other, and Adam looked so excited. "Why are you excited?" I asked him. "I'm not excited." "Well, maybe. It's been a while since I had good Chinese food. But if your mom was here, tell her I'm excited because I would be meeting her." I held his shoulder and moved him nearer me. I leaned my head towards his shoulder. Now why I did that I do not know. I guess I felt so close to him. He responded by smelling my hair. "I like how you smell," he said and lifted my hand to smell it. Then he kissed my hand. I did not move until the waiter gave us the menu. I ordered what we usually order and asked Adam to order whatever he likes. He ordered 3 other courses which I believed will crowd the table. This time he held onto my shoulder and pulled me nearer to him. I faced him this time, held his face and pulled it down. I tried to smell his hair, then I leaned in and tried to smell him near the neck, almost nuzzling near his neck. Then I held his hand and tried to smell his arm. "Are we so weird we are smelling each other?" I asked. "I hope I can remember how you smell." "This restaurant is masking everything," he said. I smiled at him and said, "Me too." I did not notice it, but I suddenly saw my mom standing in front of us. "Oh, hi Mom, this is Adam." Adam quickly stood, held my mom by the hands, then gave my mom a hug and a kiss on the cheek. Wow, that kiss just opened the doors to my mom. "I'm Adam. I am so glad to meet you, Mrs. Roths." "I'm Helen and I'm glad to meet you too, Adam." "He is actually very excited to meet you, Mom," I said and smiled at Adam. He ventured to pull a chair for my mom, and as my mom sat, he quickly sat beside me. I instinctively held his hand on the table. "So how are you, Mrs. Roths?" "I'm very okay, Adam. But you see, I should be the one asking the questions." "Fire away, I have no secrets." "What do you do, Adam?" "I am an Armada commander in charge of 1,200 ships, but I hope you will keep this a secret. Even Lauren does not know this until now." I elbowed him. He was born in Los Angeles, lived in Washington, studied in Portland and grew up in California. I said. "I was born in Pasadena and lived with my mom in the same old house. Then I lived with my other mom and other dad when my dad died." Adam said. "We met at the kitchen and he actually saved me from getting hurt when a bunch of pipes was about to fall on me. He absorbed the pipes with his body." I moved my hand to his back and moved it up and down. "Does your back still hurt?" "I told you I'm fine." This time he reached for my hand from his back and held it under the table. Mom was quietly observing us. "So have you traveled to the other human planets, Adam?" "I am sorry, but I have only been here," he answered. "But I intend to in the near future." I felt him telling Mom the truth and realized he tried to compensate by forecasting to travel. "You don't have to be sorry for not traveling. I myself have not traveled outside of this planet," I said. "You have to have a reason to go to the other planets. I simply have no reason to at the moment. But I am sure I will later on," he corrected. I wanted to kiss his cheek since he looked like a kid explaining himself. He raised our hands from under the table. Then he started to massage my hand. "Lauren bought this watch for me." He raised his other hand to show my mom. "It's supposed to be for Christmas, but he just wore it and threw the box away." "When did you actually meet each other?" Mom asked again. "We actually first met when I moved him from his table to the counter to accommodate some Space Fleet officers. But I did not know his name then." I laughed and remembered how pitiful he looked and how he looked at me. "What's so funny?" Adam asked. "You looked so pitiful when I moved you. I did that to impress you." This time my mom laughed. "Mom, Adam is such a kind person. He even danced with Mrs. Linus when he saw how sad she was." "I am not," Adam quickly said. "Yes, Mrs. Linus had been grieving for his son for 11 years now," Mom said. "But he made her smile that day," I said, smiling at Adam. "It takes a bit of kindness to work in the kitchen, especially for several days." Mom commented. "I am not really kind. I am more of a brute, especially when confronting absolute evil," Adam declared. We laughed. An alarm went off on my phone and my phone said that a group of burglars were trying to enter our property. Adam suddenly looked concerned. Don't worry. We have dogs and killer robots in and around the house. I told him. Wait, do I get it that you and your mom are the only people in your house? I mean now that Ash is away? Yes, but we are very secure. Just calm down. We get this all the time. I told him. I tried to pretend to be concerned, but I was not really. I know you have things under control. Adam said. Like you. I said, squeezing his hand. No. I let you have control to get some benefits. He said, putting his other hand on my hand, holding his hand. Me too. I said, and my mom laughed. The food arrived and it was a lot. As expected, it filled the whole table. It's a good thing this table has extendable corners. Why don't you give mom some rice, Lauren? Adam said. She's my mom, not yours. Well, it's my way of showing respect. It's the highest form of respect, really. Adam said. I don't mind, Lauren. Adam, you can call me mom anytime. See, mom gets it. Adam said. During the meal, Adam diverted the conversation topic to be about me, and had my mom relate stories from when I was young until very recent. He took the opportunity to massage my neck for whatever reason, and I just let him. We ended up with half of the food in doggy bags. I made sure Adam got his side of the orders. I will just bring Adam home, Mom. I will see you in the house. We walked the 3 blocks to my car, holding hands but quietly. By the way, where do you live, Adam? I asked as I entered my car. He reached into his pocket and showed me a piece of paper with his address on it. I drove him home. And before he got off, he gave me a kiss on the cheek. I will see you tomorrow. And thank you for today. It was the best day of my life. Adam said. I smiled and nodded. Me too. I thought. Back in our house. My mom sat me at the kitchen table and, I have never seen my daughter so happy. Mom started. I'm happy, obviously. I smiled a wide smile. You were touchy-feely all the time. So very unlike you. Since you were small, nobody has even touched your hand. Not even your brother. And you were all over him and he also was all over you. It's unbelievable. Yeah, we feel each other pretty well. I am all for this guy, Lauren. What about the guy from the stars who will save us from an impending doom? He can wait. Right now, Adam is so right for you. I have a ring from my great-grandmother that you can use to propose to him. Mother! I shouted. Look, you're a controlling person. Proposing is something you can and will do. Or you can just give him the ring and tell him to propose to you. I am not sure if I love him, though. Are you kidding me? If that is not love I just witnessed, I don't know what is. You were both simply were so happy, even in your quiet times. And yes, I saw you two just look at each other and stayed quiet. But I guess you did not even notice me notice you. I looked at my mom and realized that we were sometimes quiet in front of her. You really looked so happy. I was really happy, Mom. In our own quiet world. Yes, you two have your very own quiet world. I felt like talking to Adam and suddenly it dawned on me that he does not even have a phone. I should just give him the phone gift tomorrow. Then I felt relieved that the problem had an immediate solution. Mom, I just realized Adam does not have a phone. So strange. I will give him a phone tomorrow. That is strange. Maybe he has. It's probably that he did not find any reason to use it. Maybe. I thought and nodded at my mom. The next day I did not see Adam in the kitchen. I was so busy, I did not have time to think about it. Later, I felt so tired I went straight home. The next day, still no Adam. I am now beginning to get worried. I was jittery the whole day thinking about him. Later that day, Mr. Park approached me and, Lauren, a friend of Adam approached me outside and he told me to tell you that you should not worry about Adam. He will be back in a few days. Where's the friend? Is he still around? I asked. No, he left quickly. I want to give him a phone so Adam and I can talk. I can hold the phone for you and instruct my friends outside that if ever somebody from Adam arrived to give the phone. Mr. Park said. I would be happy if you can do that. I said and went upstairs to get a new phone. Adam was still absent the next day. I decided to get my lunch quickly and head out to his residence. As I parked my car across the street, several police and RES cars came blaring in. People with laser pistols deployed around the area. Some of the police officers cordoned off the area. I saw their drones break the front door and they all poured in. I waited just standing beside my car when most of the people who rushed in came outside. I then approached someone who looked like a leader and asked, "What happened inside?" The house was empty. No furniture, no appliances, nothing. The terrorists must have moved right after we traced their energy spike, he said, gesturing with his hands. I nodded and moved back. I cannot imagine Adam could be a terrorist, and it's really strange that he lived in an empty house. And an energy signature means there were a lot of them inside the house. I went home confused and sad. That night Uncle Flynn came over to the house for dinner. He has this extra sensory of things. I was quiet all throughout dinner and then I related what happened at Adam's house. My mom came around the table and gave me a big hug. Then I started to cry on her shoulders. I missed him so much, Mom. I cannot understand what's happening to me. It's okay, honey. Things usually have a way of correcting themselves over time. Last night before I slept, I went around our immediate area, to something like 10 planets, hoping I might see Adam or even get traces of him. But he is nowhere to be found. I looked at all the space fleet ships and he has never been in the space fleet. I went to terrorist camps and he was not there. They do not even know him. I am so worried. He may be dead. Somebody might have killed him. He said he will be back in a few days, right? Uncle Flynn asked. Yes, he sent someone to tell me this. I said. Then all you have to do is sit tight and wait then. Mom said. Yes, but I am so worried and I miss him terribly. My mom hugged me again. At this point I realized how big I am already that I had to stoop to hug Mom. At 5 feet 11 inches. I am taller than my mom by 5 inches. Adam, I think, was taller or about as tall as me. I have to stop thinking about him. The next day at about lunch, when the number of people inside the kitchen peaks, a flower delivery person appeared. She brought a large flower arrangement and set it on the counter table. These flowers are for Lauren. Are you Lauren? The flower lady asked. Yes, I am. She pulled a small envelope from the base of the flower arrangement and gave it to me. Thank you, I said. I opened the small envelope and took out the card. Dear Lauren, I apologize for not being there. Please do not worry, I am eating well and exercising. I will be there in 3 days. Missing you by the minute. Adam. Well, that made my whole day. I was happy again. The next day, the same flower people came back to deliver 200 sets of flower arrangements for the more than 200 tables. As usual, the flower lady approached me, and one of her co-workers handed her a small envelope. She looked at it and handed it to me. Who's the donor? I asked her. It's in the card, she said. It's a good thing that we did not have to pay for this. I opened the small envelope. Hi, Lauren. I just remembered that the tables needed flowers. I don't know how many tables we have there, but I hope they are enough. I am missing you a lot. Adam. He's right, the tables do need flowers. But he's wrong with the number of tables. But Mrs. Linus looks happy, so I guess all's fine.